It ended quietly, no flashing cameras, no red carpet farewells. In a calm Los Angeles hospital room, Peggy Lipton, once the very definition of 1960s cool, closed her eyes for the last time. Her daughters held her hands, and as the world turned outside, she slipped away with the same grace that had defined her life. The woman whose every look on screen felt like a whispered secret was gone. Yet her passing wasn't marked by tragedy, it was peaceful, poetic even. Because Peggy's story was never simply about fame. It was about growth, love, and the courage to face both the gentleness and the storms of life. Long before the Hollywood lights found her, she was just a quiet girl trying to figure out where she belonged in a world that didn't always understand her. Her journey began in New York City in 1946. Born Margaret Ann Lipton, she grew up in a middle-class Jewish family that valued both discipline and art. Her father worked as a corporate lawyer. Her mother was a painter with a wild imagination. Peggy often felt torn between the two, between structure and dream. She was a shy, introspective child who preferred writing poetry and listening to music over joining school dances. Beneath her soft-spoken nature was a deep yearning to be seen, to be understood. Her beauty made it impossible for the world to overlook her for long. By her teenage years, she was modeling for magazines, her brown eyes already carrying that wistful sadness that would later become her trademark. Hollywood came calling soon after. In the early 1960s, barely out of her teens, Peggy moved to Los Angeles and signed with Universal Studios. The beginning wasn't easy. She was quiet, hesitant, often overshadowed by flashier starlets. Casting agents told her she was too sensitive, too fragile, or not bold enough. But those very qualities, her softness, her vulnerability, would one day become the essence of her screen magic. Early guest roles on shows like Bewitched, The Alfred Hitchcock Hour, and The Virginian hinted at something rare. Peggy could say more with her eyes than most actors could say with an entire script. Then came 1968, the year that changed everything. Peggy Lipton landed the role of Julie Barnes in The Mod Squad, a groundbreaking TV series about 3 young undercover cops from the counterculture generation. Julie wasn't just another character, she was a symbol. With her long, straight blonde hair, minimal makeup, and calm confidence, Peggy became the face of a new kind of woman. She didn't act cool, she simply was. Julie Barnes represented freedom, empathy, and quiet rebellion at a time when America was divided and searching for meaning. Overnight, Peggy became a star. She earned an Emmy nomination, graced countless magazine covers, and turned into a style icon. Young women wanted to be her. Young men fell in love with her. She embodied an entire generation's longing for authenticity. But behind the fame and fashion, Peggy wrestled with her own insecurities. The pressure of success, the wounds from her strict upbringing, and her naturally fragile spirit all took a toll. She battled anxiety and depression, retreating from the public eye whenever life felt too heavy. During one of these quieter chapters, she met the man who would forever change her life, Quincy Jones. He was a legend, a musical genius whose sound defined an era. She was the gentle Hollywood star who spoke softly and felt deeply. On paper, they couldn't have been more different. Yet, they understood each other perfectly. In 1974, they married, their union both celebrated and controversial. Interracial marriage was still frowned upon by some, but Peggy didn't care. She loved fearlessly. Without apology, their marriage brought her what she'd long craved: peace, family, and a sense of belonging. Together they had 2 daughters, Kidada and Rashida, both of whom inherited their parents' creativity and drive. Peggy stepped away from Hollywood for over a decade to raise them, focusing on music, writing poetry, and rediscovering herself beyond the screen. But even love and stability couldn't shield her from heartbreak forever. Quincy's demanding career and constant travels strained their relationship. By 1989, after 15 years of marriage, they divorced. Though it was painful, Peggy spoke of him with nothing but tenderness. "We loved each other deeply," she said later. "But sometimes love alone isn't enough." Many thought her story might end there, but fate wasn't done with Peggy Lipton. In the early 1990s, filmmaker David Lynch offered her a role that would define the second act of her career: Norma Jennings in Twin Peaks. The role was tailor-made for her, a gentle, introspective woman who ran a small-town diner filled with secrets. As Norma, Peggy became a cult favorite once again. Her quiet warmth, that same soulful gaze, drew in a whole new generation of fans. The young rebel of the Mod Squad had grown into a woman of grace and mystery. Her beauty deepened by experience and time. But life, once again, would test her strength. In 2004, Peggy was diagnosed with colon cancer. True to her nature, she faced it without fanfare. She didn't make it a public spectacle, nor did she let it define her. Instead, she leaned on her daughters, the 2 people who had always been her greatest source of joy. Even as her body weakened, her spirit remained luminous. She continued acting, even appearing in the 2017 Twin Peaks revival. Watching her on screen then felt like witnessing a quiet farewell, her final gift to the audience that had loved her for so long. On May 11, 2019, Peggy Lipton passed away at the age of 72. The world mourned, but her daughters spoke not of loss but of peace. She made her journey surrounded by love, they said. And truly, that was her legacy, not fame or glamour, but love. Love for her children, for art, for the simple, beautiful act of living authentically. Look at her private photos. And you can see it, all the shy young girl with a dream in her eyes, the icon who helped define an era, and the mother who found beauty in the quiet moments. You see her barefoot on a studio floor, laughing softly with her daughters, her face free of makeup, her smile unguarded. That's the real Peggy Lipton, the woman behind the fame, the soul behind the image. Her life wasn't about chasing perfection. It was about being real. She taught us that strength doesn't always roar, that beauty can live in silence, and that sometimes the bravest act is simply being yourself. If Peggy Lipton's story moved you, if her journey from shy dreamer to timeless legend touched your heart, take a moment to honor her. Don't forget to share your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe to our channel for more untold stories of Hollywood's most unforgettable women. Because every star leaves behind a light, and Peggy's light still shines.